It's Jesse Charles.
Woo!
So we've probably all heard this phrase or question. Either way, it's a deterrent for kids when they're growing up. And that's, parents would say this and it's like, well, if your friends jumped off a cliff, would you? And for me, I can say yes, and I have. I was 16 at the time. Me and two friends, we got 2 cases of beer, but we didn't have a place to drink it, so we're like, well, let's just drive up this mountain road. We won't get caught by the cops up there. And so we go up there. It's about like a 25-minute drive. We go to the part where the road becomes dirt, then it becomes too bumpy, and I was like, well, my Honda Civic's not going to make it any further, boys. So we get there, then we realize we don't have a bottle opener. So we're doing everything we can to open these beers. I mean, we're trying to use the rims to pop off the lids. We're biting them with our teeth like fucking animals. We're slapping them with our dicks. Okay, no, we're not really doing that, but I just want to see a reaction, and obviously it's not well. Then I realized we can use the jumper cables. That works perfectly. We got the beers, we're drinking, we're having a good time, we're laughing, we're listening to music. And then next thing we know, we see headlights coming up the road, and we panic. And my friend Jacob, or we call him Rabies, does the weirdest thing, which is hop in the driver's seat of my car and act nonchalant, like, oh, I'm just up here drinking beers, nothing's going on. But my friend Justin, he picks up one case, runs over the edge of the road, and over the edge of a cliff, it looks like. And so I'm like, all right. And so I think of my options, and I was like, well, fuck it. I grab the other case of beers, and I follow him over the edge. Next thing I know, we jump over. Luckily, it was only like a couple, foot drop, and we slide, hit nothing. And the truck drives by, we don't get caught. And that's not the point, though. The point is I followed my friend over a cliff. And so I don't think that's a good enough deterrent for kids nowadays. But I think I've come up with one that's better. It's a Saturday morning, it's 9 a.m., I get a call from one of my best friends, Matt, and it's too early for him to be calling me on a Saturday, and I know he's had medical issues, and so I know something's up, and as soon as I hear his voice, I can tell there's something wrong. And he calls and he's like, hey, Jesse, I need a favor. And in my head I'm thinking, he just needs a ride to the hospital probably. No, far from it. He says to me, I need you to pull this catheter out of my dick. That's dead serious. And so I sit there and I pause for a second, but me and Matt, we've been through a lot. So I was like, all right, I'll be over in a minute. So I get to his house, and I get there and I ask him, I'm like, dude, shouldn't a doctor be doing this? And he's like, yeah, probably. But I was doing it myself. I got about halfway. I just can't do it anymore. It's killing me, man. We need to do this now. And I was like, all right. First things first. Do you have any gloves? Because I'm not about to shoot an R. Kelly video in here. And so he's like, yeah, there's a pair underneath the sink. It's a fresh pair. It's new. Go grab it. And I won't lie because I'm comfortable with my sexuality. But I was like thinking the whole time while I was getting these gloves, I was like, wow, Matt's got a real nice dick. But that's no surprise because we used to live together, we shared an apartment, we shared walls, and I'm pretty sure the girls there were going like, yes, yes, wow, Guild is ranked so high. And so I was like, all right, so I get back to Matt and I tell him, all right, let's do this. So I'm pulling, and I'm pulling it out, and at this point, he's screaming, I'm screaming. I don't know if we're having a boy or a girl, because I am freaking out. And then I realized in the worst way possible that a catheter has a ball at the end of it about the size of your pupil. And so all of a sudden it shoots out. That's an image that is still burned into my mind today. So that's why I think when it comes down to it, saying following someone off a cliff doesn't cut it anymore. But if you're a parent, and the next time little Timmy fucking does something stupid, you go up to him and be like, hey, if your friends pulled a catheter on some dude's dick, would you? Thank you.